Hi guys, so I wanted to come on here and talk about Ella and her life in the NICU and then give y'all a little update about her being home in her 2 months. So if you've watched my labor and delivery story, you'll know that Ella was born at 32 weeks and she was a preemie and she did have to spend about 6 weeks in the NICU. So I'm not going to go into any detail about why she, not that important, but I just wanted to point out in case anybody was staring at my eyebrows and thinking they were uneven. Yes, they are naturally uneven. My whole face is actually unproportioned. You can tell by my nose. So I do know how to fill in my eyebrows. I was born so early. If you want to know that, or if you already know, then you already know. But if you want to know, why and any more information on that, I'll go ahead and link that video down below in the description. But so yeah, she, when she was born, she did get immediately taken to the NICU, and like I said, I saw her about 2 days later after she was born, and that I had her on a Monday, and then that Friday I got released. So when she first came out, she was on a CPAP machine, oxygen, and she had jaundice. So, or no, she was just on a CPAP and oxygen machine because that would help her breathe. A couple of days later, she had jaundice, so she had to get the little, she had to get the little light on her, and then she had these really big like glasses or goggles or mask or whatever. And I'll probably put some pictures in as I'm talking about it. And so anyways, so she had to do that, and then she had that on, I want to say like about a week or so. And it was so sad to see her like that because she always had to have those, like, have that mask on. And I don't know, I really didn't like seeing her like that. So that Friday, like I said, I got released from the hospital, and that was really hard, going home without her. That wasn't how I, envisioned me going home. So I went home Friday. I did go back and see her. I did stay, and I just because I got released, I went home right away. So we just spent a lot of time at the NICU. John took about a week off, so we were up there, morning, evening, afternoon. We were just there. We were just spending time with her, reading to her, doing skin to skin, because that's very important. If you have a preemie, you know this. If you don't, skin to skin is just, if you are a mom, you have that 1 hour of skin to skin. Well, that's really good for preemies because that helps with breastfeeding, that helps with their development. It was so precious. Like, just because I didn't get to do it when she was born, it was still precious to do, when she was in the NICU. So I did a lot of that with her. Like I said, it did get hard because, she's in the NICU, you want to be there all the time, but you can't neglect the responsibilities you have at home, like laundry and cleaning, and, John had to go back to work. I wasn't working anymore. I wanted to spend as much time as I could there, but also I needed to make sure I was resting, which is a whole nother story. I'll get into that in a little bit. So, yeah, it was just hard because, we were always on the go, waking up, getting ready, and with my C-section, that was kind of hard. I was really slow to get ready because I had it was like this machine that, I guess, every once in a while sucked in all the fluid out of my incision. So I always had to constantly wear that, and I couldn't get it wet, so I did leave it outside the shower. It took forever, and I was still recovering, so I was moving real slow. So we were just constantly waking up, getting ready, going to the NICU, and then, grabbing something to eat, going back to the NICU, and, we were doing so much that I didn't cook, John didn't cook. It was just, we never really cooked to begin with, but especially at the time that she was in the NICU, we really didn't cook a lot because we were just always on the go. And for 2 weeks I couldn't drive, so I was, really relying on him to take me. And when he went back to work, I had to, ask my sister. And there was, I think, once or twice that I stayed at the hospital because I didn't have a ride back, so I had to wait till he got off. So, yeah, so that was pretty much, just spending all that time in the NICU, just being with her and being there every day and just seeing her progress. It was shortly after, maybe I think, I really don't know how long. Let me see, because I did take notes. And this video is not going to be like all organized, and I mean, just kind of. So she was born on the 14th. She had an IV, and I hated seeing that on her because they would only stay in for like a day or two, and they had to take it out and put it somewhere else. So she was constantly getting poked, and she had bruises. So I hated that. That was something I hated because I just always see bruises on her hands and her legs. I mean, in her feet. So she got her IV taken off on the 21st. So she was born on the 14th. Got her IV taken off on the 21st. She was taken off the oxygen on the 23rd, so that was good. She was able to breathe on her own. The CPAP machine, I think she got taken off before her oxygen, yes. So I think that was maybe like a couple days before she got taken off her oxygen machine. She was, at the time, she was in this, again, I'll put pictures either at the end or like as I'm talking. She was in this like incubator. And that was, if you saw my labor and delivery story, you saw it when I was reading to her, she was in an incubator, and that was to keep all her warmth, because babies that little they waste. The important thing is they need to gain weight. So one of the things is they need to keep warm, and they can't keep themselves warm on their own because they waste too much energy and burn too many calories, which make them lose weight. So she had to be in the incubator. And when did she get that taken off? Sorry. She got that taken off on the 27th. She was able to keep her heat, so they took her out of that. She got put into a crib. It's not like an actual crib, it's just, ones that they had in the NICU. So that was good. The good thing is nothing was wrong with her when she came out. It was just all about her developing. And the biggest concern was her gaining weight and eating by mouth, because at that time she couldn't eat by mouth. Everything was going through a tube. So so that was really the two main things. She was born 4 pounds 3 ounces, which was kind of, at 32 weeks I was kind of like, oh my gosh, how much would she have weighed if she went full term? They do lose some weight before they start gaining it. So she did go down to about 3 pounds. I don't know how many ounces. So she was gaining weight, and we thought she was gaining weight fine, but she wasn't gaining weight fast enough. So they wanted her gaining about 30 grams a day, and she wasn't gaining weight fast enough. So they had to they upped her feedings, and then they had to put extra calories in there. The formula she was on is a NeoSure, so that's 22 cal, but they wanted her at 26 cal, so she had to get extra formula. So that way she could gain weight quicker, and they wanted to see a steady weight gain. At that time, right away, I want to say like a week or two, we started 1 PO feeding, once a shift, so once in the morning and once in the evening, and it was bottle or breast. So I did try both. Like I said, she was about 33, 34 weeks. She wasn't, she wasn't really sucking, but it was worth a try. So we did that every day. Just kept doing it and doing it. She was very slow, and she was very, I guess, it was a lazy suck, because again, we were asking her to do so much at such a young age. Once she mastered eating once by mouth each shift, they bumped her up to 2. And she was doing that perfect, but I was still trying to breastfeed, but breastfeeding was harder for her. The bottle, she took to the bottle easier than she did breastfeeding. So, but what I did is I rented a hospital grade pump, because that's supposed to mimic the sucking of a baby. And since I was exclusively pumping, that's what I would use. So she was getting breast milk for a good while there, for the first month, and then but my supply was so low, it was not at where it needed to be with her. So that's why I kept trying breast, to kind of stimulate that, and kind of tell my body that there was a baby that needed it. So because they say that your body will produce what your baby needs, if you're breastfeeding. But since I wasn't actually breastfeeding, it was a lot harder. So I would try and try every time she would eat. I would try first the breast, and if she didn't latch on for about the first 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes, if she wasn't latching on, then we would just go to bottle. And so I was just still pumping, and she was still taking my breast milk by mouth with one bottle, or if she, at another feeding, she did it by tube. So she was doing that. I finally, I kept pumping. Like I said, I wasn't producing enough, and I was just noticing that because about 35 weeks, almost 36 weeks, I was noticing that she was taking to the bottle better than she was the breast. And so I made the decision that I wasn't gonna breastfeed her. I was gonna still pump, but I wasn't gonna breastfeed her. And I was really back and forth about that for a good week or so, because I just, as a mom, I wanted to breastfeed her, and I wanted that bond. Because when she did latch on, she would latch on for maybe like 5 minutes, but then she would get tired, and it wasn't a constant suck. So yeah, so I did want that bond, but at the same time, like, I was noticing that she was eating better by bottle. So I was like, well, we're wasting, because that was really all we were waiting on, was her eating by mouth, eating all feedings by mouth, which was she ate 8 times a day. So I was like, hey, why am I going to focus so much on breastfeeding if she's taking better to the bottle? Because what they had me doing was first breastfeeding and then going to the bottle. Well, what I noticed is that she would breastfeed her a little bit, and then when she got to the bottle, she would get tired, and so she wouldn't drink all her bottle. So then they'd have to do the tube. So it was still like she wasn't, because the way they did it is like she had to at least take 75% of her feedings, in a day, 75%. For 48 hours before she could get released, or before they could take the tube off, and then she had to do another 24 hours of 75% or more of her feedings, and then can go home. So it's like, okay, she's wasting all this energy on breastfeeding, and then she gets to the bottle and she's sucking away, and then she gets tired and she doesn't get to finish, and then they have to do the tube, and it will just start the 48 hours all over again. So I decided, I was talking to John about it, and I was like, as much as I want to do that, I think it's best I think it's best that I stop breastfeeding her and just stick to the bottles. Because another thing was that they had me breastfeeding, and then they had me doing the bottle, because she was losing weight at first, because we thought she was, she would breastfeed for about 15 minutes, like it was 15 minutes on and off. So they would consider that still a full feeding. So they wouldn't, give her anything through the tube. They wouldn't do it through a bottle. And when she started doing that, because she started doing that a couple of times, she started losing weight. So she wasn't getting enough because her suck wasn't consistent. So they had me doing breastfeeding first, and then the bottle after, like supplementing with a bottle, because we didn't want her to drop weight. And so, like I said, I was just noticing she was taking the bottle better, so I decided, after a lot of back and forth and a lot of talking with John, like, she's taking better the bottle, like, let's just focus on that. Why am I trying to make my daughter breastfeed when maybe she can't do it, or maybe she won't do it? Let's focus on getting her out of the NICU, and I can try at home. And so I did go to the NICU one day, and I told them, like, I'm not gonna breastfeed, and that nurse did give me a hard time, of course, which is something I don't like, because not every mom wants to breastfeed. Every mom doesn't have to breastfeed, and just because you don't breastfeed your child doesn't make you a bad mom. No one should make you feel bad about that. So that nurse did make me feel, she's like, well, why do you want to stop? I don't think you should stop. And if you stop now, then, your baby might forget to suck on the how to suck on the bottle. And she just really, I had a lot of pushback with it, and it made me really uncomfortable, and I really didn't like it, because, like I said, every mom can decide how they want to feed their baby. Mom should feel like, because they formula feed their baby or they breastfeed, either way is their preference. So I did have a lot of pushback on that, but I just stuck to what I felt was right. And when she said that about forgetting to suck on the bottle. Like I said, I stuck with it to what I thought was right, and we started just doing all bottle. And then she was, like I said, like I knew, because I had that feeling that she was going to take better to the bottle, she started finishing more of her bottles. She's, you know, she did still have to take some by tube, or she would take like 2 feedings by bottle, and then the next feeding she would take, you know, some by bottle, and then had to take the rest by tube. So I knew that what I was doing was right, and I knew, you know, that that's what my daughter was better at. And that, okay, sorry, my camera turned off, so I had to figure out where I was, because I don't even know at what point it turned off. But anyways, so yeah, I'm glad I stuck to what I thought was best, because she did finally, after I decided to stop breastfeeding, she did finally start taking all the bottles by mouth, and she got to come home within like 4 days. 4 days that I decided, okay, let's just stick to the bottle, she was able to come home. So screw all those nurses who told me that she was going to forget how to suck on the bottle or whatever. I'm sorry, I'm really upset about that. But anyways, yeah, she got to come home on the 22nd, 2 days before Christmas, so it was a very good Christmas for us. So she's here now. So a little update on her right now. She is, because she's a little over 2 months. She is 2 months and 2 months and 13 days. So she would have been born on January 9th. So technically her adjusted age is about 2 weeks. So her adjusted age is 2 weeks, about 2 weeks. They did tell us that, because she had occupational therapists there, they did tell us that she would be about, developmentally, she would be about 2 months behind. So she should be holding her head up by now. Most babies would be. My gosh. But she doesn't, not yet. She can for a little bit, but not as good as she would be if she was born full term. So there is something she is still behind, but like I said, we just got to keep practicing with her, and she should catch up. Usually with preemies, they said about 2 years, right? 2 years old, they catch up to everybody else. But I mean, that's just what they tell you, just so that, you know, we're aware. But she can meet some of her milestones. She can meet all of her milestones. It all just depends on her and on what we work with her. So I do try to work with her at home while I'm here with her during the day. So yeah, that's pretty much right now. She still acts like a newborn, because like I said, technically she's only like 2 weeks. She still acts like a newborn, sleeps a lot. Her formula she takes is a NICU. Like I said at the beginning, she was on 26 cal, but now she's on 24 cal, because she is gaining weight, because she is 7 pounds and 3 ounces. That's what she weighed on her last doctor's appointment, which was about a week ago. I don't really like her NICU formula, because it does upset her stomach, and she did have a hard time pooping. So yeah, that's pretty much all. Like I said, she doesn't really do much right now. She sleeps, eats, poops like a newborn. So I think that's pretty much it. If you like to see more, like to know more, just continue to keep watching. And thank you for watching all of our videos, and thank you for those who have subscribed. And if you have any questions, or if there's any moms that watch this channel and see this video, or if you just happen to stumble upon this video and maybe you have some input, any advice or anything, or any moms with preemies have any advice or any experiences that you'd like to share, just go ahead and comment. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.